Hey there everybody, it's Mike DiLisio, and today I'm going to be reviewing Come Sail Away, the newest game from publisher Sashi & Sashi. It's a co-design by Sashi and Daryl Chow. In Come Sail Away, you are trying to place passengers as efficiently as possible onto an ocean liner at the beginning of the 20th century when these floating cities were just becoming popular. You're going to do this primarily through a Mancala-style mechanic, and let's head over to the table. I'll show you how that goes, and then we'll come right back here and I'll let you know what I think. Okay, here we see Come Sail Away all set up and ready to play. Each player is going to have their own personal yacht here or cruise liner that they're going to be placing passengers onto in the most efficient way possible. The setup right here that I'm showing you is the recommended setup for your first game or two. They've got the most basic rooms in a setup and a arrangement that makes it a little bit easier. There are some other tiles that are more advanced rooms that can kind of change things up and be a little bit more complex, although none of them are terribly complex. Once that you have decided what the layout for the ships are going to be, every player has to have the same exact arrangement, so everyone's ship should look exactly the same, with the exception of these 5 bonus rooms that are up here at the top. Those are just randomly chosen at the beginning of the game during setup. The other thing you're going to see here, you're going to see this collection of passengers, which is known as the pier. You're going to see some bonus tokens, and here are the cards that drive the game. You're going to play through 12 rounds. That will be tracked by the cards that you play going here by the stern of your ship. Is it bow? Maybe the bow of your ship. I'm not a sailor. The front of your ship, how about that? Okay? And you're going to play through 12 rounds. Each round is going to have 5 different phases. So let me just show you what types of cards there are, because the first thing you're going to do is you're going to be drawing 2 cards. Every player is going to draw 2 cards from this deck and choose one. There are essentially 3 different types of passenger cards that you're going to find in that deck. You're going to find a card with 4 passengers, a card with 3 passengers, and a card with 2 passengers that have these arrows there, and I'll explain what that means in a moment. Generally speaking, when you choose a card, you're going to take these color passengers from the dock and you're going to be placing them in your ship. You can place them, you have to place them in the order that they're in, but it can either go from left to right or from right to left. So if you chose this arrangement, you could place red first, then yellow, then black, then blue, or blue, black, yellow, red. You'll notice that every card has one particular passenger that has that luggage symbol. That is important because you can get luggage bonuses if you place the corresponding passenger with that luggage token into a cabin of their color. The 2 passenger cards are different in that you can place these any way you like. You can place a green passenger anywhere you want and a yellow passenger everywhere you want. The other passengers have certain placement rules, and if you're familiar with the game Mancala, it is going to be like that, where you have to have a starting room, and then you're going to be placing adjacently in adjacent rooms orthogonally, not diagonally. You can't double back to a room that you've already gone to before, for example. All right, so you draw 2 cards, and you're going to pick one of them that you want to play this round, okay? So maybe what I'm going to do, let's say that I'm going to do this card, which is blue, the yellow luggage passenger, and black, all right? So let me grab those passengers out of the dock, and I can choose any starting spot I want. Let me put this up here so you can kind of see that. Let's say that I really want to get this passenger luggage bonus. So that means that the yellow passenger has to go here. So what I can do is this. I can either place blue first or black. I'm going to place black here in the salon, and what this tile is asking you to do is put 4 different colored passengers in it. So any passenger can be the first one there. The yellow passenger went there, which was my luggage passenger, and then blue is going to go here into one of my dining rooms. The dining rooms ask for 2 sets of 2 passengers of the same color. So this one would have to be a blue, and this could be 2 of any other color. Okay, so since I placed that passenger, the next phase, which phase 2 is placing the passengers, the next phase is claiming luggage and occupancy bonuses. Now, that yellow passenger went into a yellow spot, so I moved this tracker, this luggage tracker, along from left to right. I'm going to be getting particular bonuses and or endgame points while I'm doing that. So it is important to move up that track. And then I'm going to place the card that I chose over here at the front of my ship, and that again is a round timer. Okay? The other thing you're checking for during phase 3, in addition to luggage bonuses, is you're looking for occupancy bonuses, and that is, have you filled up any of the rooms in your boat? That's obviously not going to happen on the first turn or two of the game, but eventually you're going to be filling up these rooms. And when you do so, you will flip them over, and depending upon the type of room, it's going to do a particular thing. Let's say that I had filled up this room. I go ahead and I flip it over. What this tells me is that at the end of the game, this is worth 5 points. That's great. What's not so great is that now any passenger that I would have to place in this room becomes a disgruntled passenger, which you're going to track right over here. Every disgruntled passenger at the end of the game is worth 1 negative point. All right? So anytime you can't place a passenger in a appropriate room, it has to go to the disgruntled passenger's spot. This is what's called, this central tile is called the grand staircase. You can always use this as kind of almost a holding ground if you wanted to get to a particular place, but you're not able to do it otherwise. So let's say I wanted to place someone in the red and the black rooms, and I didn't have an appropriate token for there. Let's say I had a blue and it couldn't go there. I could go red. Let me stand them up. Place the blue in the grand staircase, and then place the black here because this is still following the correct rules. The only thing that you have to account for here in the grand staircase, you can have as many of the colors tokens that you want. So once you've chosen blue, you can put as many blue passengers here. But once you've put 3 colors in there, you could not place any more different colors. You can put as many green, yellow, and blue as you want, but you're stuck with those till the end of the game. All right? So that would be one occupancy bonus. Another one would be is if you fill up these cabins, you also are going to get 5 points at the end of the game, but you move up the luggage track. When you get to one of these spots, you get to pick one of these bonus rooms, any one of them, and you get to place it on any of these 4 spots. And this room is going to be adjacent to this room, and if you put a room there, it's adjacent to that one as well. All right. The last thing you would be looking at, actually, well, there's 2 more phases. The 4th phase is looking to see if you have achieved any in-demand bonuses. So this is just a accounting of which special rooms are in this particular game. So we have rooms 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So those tokens are up there. The first one to complete these is going to get a bonus. So let's say I was the first one to complete room 3. I would flip that bonus over, and I would take a 3-point bonus token that would count towards my score at the end of the game. So you're basically racing to be the first to complete those rooms. If you had different rooms in play, you'd have different numbers associated up there. Finally, the last thing you're going to do in a phase is you are going to pass the card that you didn't choose to your neighbor to the left and draw a new one. So you'll always have 2 cards at the beginning of your turn. One that was passed to you, except for the first round of the game, one that was passed to you, and one you draw. And you're going to do this again 12 times, keeping track of it here, trying to place your passengers in the most efficient way possible, trying to avoid disgruntled passengers, racing to be the first to complete these rooms, and moving up the luggage track as well. There are a number of different bonuses. Some of them, as I showed you, are to get these bonus rooms. Sometimes it's just to take a passenger from the pier and put it anywhere you like. Sometimes it's taking a passenger from the grand staircase and putting it anywhere you like, or taking a passenger from the disgruntled passengers and being able to place it on your ship. Different things that you can do. And again, you can get up to 20 bonus points at the end, or just points at the end of the game. Scoring after 12 rounds is essentially you're going to count your completed rooms that have all the points there. These can even be completed for points. You're also going to be counting up any of your bonus tokens that you have. You're going to be counting up any of the points you may have gotten from the luggage track, and then you're going to be subtracting any points you have from the disgruntled passengers. Whoever has the most points at the end of round 12 is the most successful cruise planner, let's call it. All right, let's head back and I'll let you know what I think. All right, so there you have Come Sail Away. I do want to make one point. I forgot in my overview to mention that for endgame scoring, you also do get 1 point for every passenger that's still in a room not counting the grand staircase. So you can get some extra points that way. All right, well, let's get to it. Sashi & Sashi is a publisher that I have been a fan of most of their games for the last number of years. And what makes this particular title a little bit different from others in their product line is that this is really their first big box game, okay? And that's really just in the form factor, okay? They normally have either small card games or relatively small board games that come in boxes that are a bit smaller than this. They did have a game called Let's Make a Bus Route, which was about the same dimensions here, but quite a bit, maybe half the depth of the box. But the game within is not necessarily it's definitely not their heaviest game. It's a relatively light game, and it's relatively quick playing. So the box size might belie the experience that's within it, but the experience that's within it, I'm just going to put it out there right now, is delightful. This is just a delightful game. I tend to use particular adjectives when I'm talking about the Sashi games that I like, and delightful is one of them, lovely is another one. There is just something about the aesthetic, and so I'm going to talk a little bit about the art and the components right now. There's something about the aesthetic of these Sashi games that speak to me. Now, of course, that's going to be a personal preference, and you'll know relatively quickly if the art style is something that works for you. It's not going to work for everybody. It's a very kind of minimalistic look, right? And I think there are some people that might be put off by that. I'm certainly not. I think it is beautiful. Component quality is fantastic. The cardboard tiles that make up your ship and make up the front and the back of your ship are really, really nice quality. Your disgruntled passenger token, all nice thick cardboard. They did not have to be. Those front and the back of the ships didn't even really need to be there, but they do add a nice kind of thematic touch. Now, you have that you place bonus rooms on those, but you could have done that in a different way. What I'm saying is, I think that the whole package was very carefully and thoughtfully designed, and I think it's fantastic. The different custom meeples for the different passengers are all very, very nice, and it's just satisfying to place those Mancala style around your ship. The card quality is very good, no complaints there. Very easy to read the cards. There's not a whole lot of information on them. So component-wise, art-wise, for me, it's very, very good. Gameplay, which is of course going to be the main selling point of a game, is there a good gameplay experience there? For me, is very satisfying, especially when you consider the time length that you're talking about. This is a filler type game. In other words, the time you take to play it is in about 30 minutes. Most of those types of games you would classify as fillers. I don't know that I would necessarily consider this a filler. I think that this is a, fully fledged game, even though filler games are fully fledged. They just kind of have this connotation of, oh, you play this before the real game, or you play this after you're done with the real games, which I don't necessarily agree with. But this one has the length of a filler and the experience of something a bit more. When you play with the basic setup and the basic rooms, it's very, very light. When you play with the more advanced rooms, it's still light, but it has a little bit more going on, and especially when you just kind of randomize the placement of the rooms. Then you can get to some really agonizing choices that you're having to make. And in a game like this, that's what I appreciate. Agonizing choices in 30 minutes or less. Really, really nice. Now, player interaction is something that I know is very important to a lot of people, and I would say that the player interaction in this game is certainly on the lower end. I would not call it multiplayer solitaire for two primary reasons. Really, the two interaction points in Come Sail Away are in racing to get those rooms, the specialized rooms, first, because you get 3 points for being the first one to do so. So there's an interaction point. You can see everyone else's boat. That's all public information. So if you see somebody is close to finishing room 3 and you can do it on this turn, you're going to be more likely to make a choice that gets that room done first. So there's an interaction there. The other interaction point that I really like is when you're drawing those two cards, choosing which one to play and which one you're going to pass, because these may be both fantastic cards. And you may have a real struggle deciding which one do I want to keep for myself, which one do I want to give to my leftmost neighbor, because again, you can see their boat. And it's really, really crushing if you know that you have to give them a card that's going to give them a really nice turn. And so sometimes you'll take a suboptimal play for yourself not to give a perfect card or close to it to your leftmost neighbor. So that's where the interaction comes in. It's not going to be on the high end of the interaction scale, but it's also not negligible. Overall, I think Come Sail Away does so many things well. It is rules light, but decision heavy. It has very, very elegant mechanics that are very simple to teach. If you're familiar with Mancala, most of the work is done for you. If you're not, it's a simple enough concept. So it's a game that I find a pleasure to teach and to introduce to new players. Plays quickly, but still feels like a full experience. I'm going to be giving Come Sail Away an 8.5 out of 10, a seal of excellence. This one is up there in the top tier of the games from Sashi and Sashi that I've played, and I have a sense this one could turn out to be my favorite with repeated plays. If it looks like something you might be interested in, you should definitely check it out. That's Come Sail Away. All right, well, that's going to do it for me. This is Mike DiLisio signing off from the Dice Tower Midwest Annex.